And this is the last unit from the haul. All sorts of dust and muck on it. An old Philips. Man, there's some dust on it. That would have been from the brick. Something made out of Besaplox. AH978 Stereo Music Centre. I don't have much hope of any of this working, but or maybe the radio probably will on the amp, but you never know. Oh, this is one of these. I think it'll be the sideways, yeah, and the cover comes off. Get that out of the way. Handy having the stylus sitting. I should have checked that before I moved it. Stylus scratching around, and it looks like we've got some RCA to speaker cables. What sort of speaker connections has this thing got? Nice bit of FM antenna there. Oh yes, the speakers are RCA. Oscillator. I assume that's oscillator. And local DX. That's a strong or weak signal for the radio. External AM aerial, external FM aerial, 300 ohm by the look of it, and an earth. So maybe one of those is a 75 ohm. Looks like that almost was a bit of coax cable at some stage because it's got the old foil on it. AH978 FM medium wave, 47 watts power consumption. Manufactured in accordance with the specifications of Consumer Products Australia, Philips Consumer Products. Oh, it's made in Japan. So it's actually a Japanese one. That's interesting. So it's quite old, I guess, if it's made in Japan. Because Philips were known for rebadging some pretty junky stuff, though mostly they did it under the Pi brand name. I'll put those speaker cables to one side as well. All the knobs are in random positions, volume down, and I'm not going to bother cleaning this up. I would guess the tape deck doesn't work, but you never know. Oh, this is plasticky stuff. Yeah, it's got the old circlip on there. So it's a full plastic platter, I think. It's probably the whole turntable is entirely plastic, I think so. She's about as cheap as they come. Never know, that stylus still has a needle on it, so it might be okay. Now I better check this mains cord again as the first bit of basic safety stuff, especially with these old figure 8 ones. These are known for getting damaged very easily. They're single, they've just got the one set of insulation, no outer sheath on them. Seems to be alright though. Oh, plug it in and see if it goes bang or not. Well, I think, yep, we've got a light up radio dial. That little orange pointer there. And the only other lights are FM stereo and record, so that's a kind of clever way, I guess, to use that as a power light. Headphones, mic in. Can hear the transformer humming reasonably loudly. And yeah, plywood base on it. I guess we can see if this thing actually should... Yep, no. It's making a noise, but nothing's happening. So the motor's going, but I would assume this would be an idler drive. Yep, it sure is. It's a very cheapo version of something like a BSR. But the idler's not even coming across. Or is that because we've taken the platter off? Oh, it does have a neutral setting, but that's not really... Yeah, that's not even coming across to that upper pulley for some reason. And it's as chunky as, I think it's the... Something's got a lot of vibration. The motor's noisy, but... That idler tie's going clunk, clunk, clunk. And it's doing it there as well, you can hear it. So not happy. So, no surprise there, the turntable doesn't work. May well have been when someone donated it. That's one of the reasons they did. Ooh, how do I start something up there? Must be turning the switch in there. So that might have been one of the reasons they got rid of it in the first place, because probably no one wanted a record player anyway, but it could just be from sitting around for so long. And that's the adapter for the records with a big hole in them. So that can be removed. Yeah, nice grease on me there. Now let's see about the tape deck. I assume that's not going to work either. Yep, can hear the motor going, nothing's turning. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of in fast forward, take up reel action, and rewind. Oh yeah, the counter's going. Of course the counter won't go in fast forward, but in play. Oh, it's just starting to go. The pinch roller is just going and the take up reel's now going, so surprised. I was assuming the belt would be broken or something, but that's actually amazingly still actually working to some degree, and that's actually got good torque on both the pinch roller and the take up reel. So I'm almost going to stick a tape in there, and is that actually, I think that's out of that old. Let's put Julio Iglesias. Oh, he's gone. Oh, that's right. I don't know where he is. It's not chewing the tape. It looks, it might be alright. It's making a hell of a noise. I wonder when the last time this was used. God, rewind actually flies along. Well, it did. Uh-oh, I've hit the end. It's hit the end of the tape. Wow. I am surprised the tape deck works. So I guess if I hook an RCA to RCA lead up to this thing, I can plug it. Oh, I better check it, I guess, before I do. Don't want to blow any speakers. I've got front and rear speakers. Fancy. 4 to 16 ohms. So let's just check for rogue voltages coming out of this thing. Ooh, 12.9. That could just be capacitors, but ooh, that's not a good sign then. If one channel's 12.9, the other's got some random varying voltage. I don't think I'm going to plug a speaker into that. I don't like the look of that at all. It's 2.3 volts. 12 volts would be the full rail on this thing probably. Don't know if I should hook it up to a dummy load just to see if it drops it down. I might just quickly flick that on because Tommy's out on the measure it with the multimeter at the same time. It might have just been a charge cap because it seems to have gone down. If that was the 12 volt one, which I'm not 100% sure which one was. I think it was the red one. Oh no, that's the 12 volt one. Yeah, it's discharged, so it might just be, fine. Oh, well, it's worth a try. Plug it into some speakers and see what happens. Where's the volume? Yeah, what are we on? FM auto. Yeah, there's a bit of noise coming from the... not very good noise, but... FM mono doesn't seem to do much. Dicky switch. Tape. Ooh, it's getting going. Oop. Lost the volume there. Ooh, something's making a weird noise. Now that volume control I think's very dicky. Very dicky. Ooh. And tape's very slow. I think we can call this thing pretty much a write-off, which is what I would expect if it's been sitting around for years unused. It's not going to work very well. There's FM. I got one channel as well. Oh, maybe that's my old lead there, or their sockets. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, there's nothing much on this that ain't dicky. Must admit, I'm tempted to have a look inside it if I can. Oh yeah, it looks like the top might lift off this thing, I think. Might as well, even though it's not really much good for anything. Dicky sockets, dicky switches, turntable issues. It's almost just a piece to e-waste, this thing. Tape issues. I must get around and uploading the video one day. I did do a Senyo, one of these that I had lying around just out of interest to see if I could get it going, and I think it took me 3 hours work. And it still needs a stylus. But yeah, 3 hours of work to... Actually, I can test the stylus on this, I guess, by running it by hand. But yeah, 3 hours to tidy the thing up and get it going. Maybe that's not going to come apart so easy. No, I haven't taken the back off yet, which probably holds it together. The fact it's Japanese made is interesting. It might be, I mean, the electronics in it are probably pretty good, but certainly the turntable's as cheap as they come. But to be fair, they did sort of do the job on a basic system. If you just, you know, like kids' rumpus room type thing, or just a basic system, you didn't care about a full hi-fi thing, these would actually sound alright. But certainly not going to excite anyone when it's just made out of plastic stuff. Well, I don't think that's undone much at all. Oh, something's coming loose, is it? Oh, it's just stuck, I think. It is starting to separate from the bottom. Oh, I wonder if there's more here that I've got to undo. That's pretty good. Ah, is there something to do with this tape deck, maybe? This end seems to be coming. That's always the problem. How the hell it's held together is starting to come a bit. Don't see anything obvious there. Oh, is there a screw down there? Ah, what's the bit? There's a screw. That ain't going to fit in there. Where's my green Stanley screwdriver gone? I get a feeling I've come across these things before like this. I used to pull the odd one of these to bits just to play around with when I was a kid. Good way to learn about these things. Oh, I've loosened. Oh, okay, so there's something's happening. Oh, maybe there's another one in there, is there? Oh, that one's down a hole, so it was obvious. There's another little Phillips screw here, little countersunk one. Try and get that out. I can't get the other one out of the hole. Well, something's starting to come loose. Does that mean this lifts off? Jeez, they made some weird designs in those days. Ah, there'll be a couple of screws there, that's what it is. Can I get them? Oh, they're tiny ones. Oh, one's already missing. Probably why this thing's starting to come loose. Oh, now we're getting somewhere. Still feels like it's attached. Definitely attached in the middle here somewhere. Oh, there's a screw. What the hell? There's a screw right under the door there. Does this door somehow pop out? Ha! That's annoying. Always the fun with these things was working out how to get them apart. Yeah, there's definitely a screw at the back of the door, so I'm assuming... What's this door hooked on that thing? I reckon, yeah, we pushed that. So one on the other side. I think I've had these... Oh, look at that. Worth pulling apart just to see how they do it. So there's a second screw here, and that should get the top of the tape deck off. Oops, something's just fallen in. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have undone that. Now you tell me. That little countersunk screw. Now I think I should have left that. Let that be. Where'd it go? That'd be right. Like, yeah, they certainly came up with some interesting... of course, now the bloody thing's fallen out. And I'm about to lose the screw before I get it back in there. Okay, so don't take the countersunk screw out. I better be a bit, I won't move that around too much. So there's our tape mech. This is still kind of stuck in place, even though it's actually stuck to the wood, I think. The metal break, yeah, there you go. It's had a bit of moisture on it. Oh god, yeah, rust. It's stuck by rust. And this turntable should unplug. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Yeah, we've got two RCAs for the audio, but the power, they've got a just labelled 38 and 37. 37 is the ground. Well, I'm just gonna find a Sharpie and I'll mark one of those with black, and the white wire went to 38. So, oh, a little piece fell off. This is the underside. Oh, here we got it. Oh, 78. Made in Japan in 1978. And oh, it's a Matsushita. So that's like a national Panasonic. Pretty sure that's their symbol. FU105TR2, DC 12 volt. Wow, 1978. I wouldn't have picked this as quite that old, but it's not that surprising, really. I guess it's not really... Well, look at the tape deck. That's not really an 80s thing, is it? Oh, it's actually got a STK433 chip in it. Couple of fuses. Oh, that resistor looks like it's been awfully hot at some stage. There's our record playback switch. Power section with transformer. Quite a bit in the radio, all discrete. Well, there is one chip there, but I think the radio itself, all discrete components. That's probably something to do with the tape player. I can see what looks like bias oscillators, possibly. Where's the audio? That's the heads. That goes to the record playback switch, and that's more likely over here. That's probably the erase oscillator. What on earth's all this stuff then? Maybe that's a phono input or something. Phono comes to there and there. There's no way it's... Or is that the phono code? Oh no, phono's here. And... Is that the one? Yeah, and it's the white wire. Oh, this is the two phono inputs. So that's probably your phono section. Well, that's radio. Maybe that's the FM or something. What does it say? Oh yeah, 19 kilohertz adjust. So that's your FM multiplexer or something. Wow. That is certainly old school. A lot of circuit board in there for what it is. You've got a basic idler. Actually need a pinch roller out of one of these for an old National, but I don't think this is the same. Mabuchi motor. Oh, this is it actually a standard motor, 12 volt DC, 2400 RPM clockwise. No, it's not like, oh, it is an EG510AD. So it is a pretty standard motor number. They'd actually standardised them at this stage. That's impressive. And amazingly, it's been in a fairly damp place, or somewhat. I mean, you can see from these end brackets, that's why I couldn't get the wood loose, because they're just pure rust. But the belts in this thing are actually intact. Yeah, all the cabinet's been damp. And the idlers look like they're okay as well. Well, I had plenty of torque there in place, so... Yeah, pinch roller, besides being dirty. Wow. So that's over 40 years old and still in surprisingly good condition. You probably could clean all those pots in it. Big selector switch there for the inputs. God knows how many contacts are in that switch for the tape play record. And yeah, besides one resistor looking a bit cooked there. Was that a 2.7 ohm like the others? Probably. Yeah, I'm impressed. What's it say under there? I see some... Ooh, something's loose in there by the sound of it. Oh, it is too. What is that? Is it just a piece of it? That sounds like a definite loose screw or something to me. Where is it? Ah, there it goes. Huh. That's that other screw out of the tape deck that was missing. Oh, I've got all the pieces for it now. I was going to look at there's a label under here. Looks like it's in Japanese. Blue and red label that's it's kind of cut out by the metalwork there underneath the... Yeah, it looks like there was a label, probably something about the woodwork. It's got some Japanese symbols, I assume they are. Some sort of Asian symbols. Oh, well, there you go. Again, a lot of hand soldering and wiring involved in making one of these things. It's got a massive heatsink in it, which is pretty good. But, you know, not such a big transformer, so it wasn't exactly highest power. Could probably look up the specs on that chip and find out what it actually might even be on one of my books here. I'll look it up, see if it says anything about an STK433. I think they cover STK chips. Here we go. 433. It's got a few versions, I know. It just says -105 in brackets. Hybrid IC. It's equal to a 436. 32 volts, 2 times 5 watts. 23 volt when it's got a 23 volt rail into 8 ohms. So you can upgrade that to a 435 or 436. There is no 434 in here for some reason. So they're just slightly higher power, yeah, up to the 439 by the look of it. Or maybe even more, 20 watts, 25, so it goes up to the 443. 25 watts, the 435 is 27 watts with a slightly higher rail. 436 is 2 times 10 watts. 437 is 2 times 10 watts. 439, 2 times 15, then 2 times 20, 25, 30. So they're just a bunch of chips, probably all identical. But you had to put a higher power rail into them. And yeah, probably higher rated output devices inside the actual case there. So it's semi-respectable 5 watts a channel. But yeah, not much use for anything these days. That deck looks very familiar. I think a lot of these old units may have used this, may have been another standard sort of mechanism with these white things with a white take-up reel with those little metal pieces on it. I don't think that old National I had was like that, but it could be. It was definitely from the 70s. Anything like that? I've taken the pinch roller off so I can't tell. That's quite different, I think. Yeah, no, motor's in a different spot. I wonder if it was that Sanyo thing I had the same deck in it somewhere. I've seen one of these recently, these decks. So maybe there was a bit of standardisation of that sort of thing, or the eject mechanism, I assume that's what that is. It's not doing anything when I press that. Whatever that is rather stiff. Maybe when the door comes down it pushes on it or something. But anyway, that's been going on for far too long. But while you got it, might as well pull it to bits and have a look inside. So I guess I have to find out if anyone wants to do anything with this, but this is pretty much what I thought it would be, pretty knackered. Probably the same moisture that got in and stuck the wood to the metalwork there where it's corroded a bit. That probably damaged some of these pots and stuff, or at least made the contacts dirty. Wouldn't be surprised if some contact cleaner would revive them. Power cord out would help. I get a feeling I have pulled one of these style things apart before. If it's a Japanese thing, these may have come out under different brands. I remember a few of them having those like a cassette holder thing on there. So it's quite possible this just has a different front on it for Philips or something. And I did find the other wooden screw, or so I thought. Unless I dropped the actual, oh no, the other screw's still in there, so yeah, I did find the screw that was missing. And it looks like there's a little mouse poo in there, which wouldn't surprise me. They had been in the shelves where this was stored. And the door, I guess I better put the door back on. So I think we just hooked that under the back. Yeah, there's a couple of pivoting bits and a couple of little flat bits there that go down in these little holes. And once we push these down and bend them in a bit, that should just lock it in place. Simple as. Why they always went to so much trouble to hide the screws, I'll never know, but they always did. Just to make life difficult. But this unit almost would be worth doing a quick resurrection on if there's such a thing with audio gear. Oil damp system, so that's what that... It's kind of slow, isn't it? Maybe that thing is meant to be... That thing I was saying was a bit stiff, or a bit slow to move, maybe it's meant to be that way. It's not just old grease that's dried up. Long gooey. The only other thing I think I might just do is I'll test if that stylus is any good by just hand winding this thing. Even if your idler or motor stuffed in a record player, the good thing about it is you can do the old method of hand cranking it basically. They used to be spring driven after all. Or you'd wind up a spring and that would keep it going. The old gramophones, most of them weren't in any way electrical. So they just had that horn speaker, if you would call it a speaker. It just came directly off the needle or the stylus and sort of amplified the sound mechanically. And you had some sort of wind-up mechanism. You'd give it a wind and I think it would keep running for a bit before you had to wind it again. So you could basically run them. There's no amplifier in them, no motor. So good for the old days when you're out in the country somewhere and didn't have power or anything. You could still have a bit of music to listen to. Which was actually useful once upon a time because a lot of people didn't have power. That's on. And we need to go to photo. Have I got any sound? Oh, one of those was Dicky. Oh, I plugged in the wrong thing. That's not very good. Probably just blown up my CD player. I don't think it'll worry it, but I did just run the speaker inputs into it. That's one of the risks of having too many things. As long as I didn't blow the amp up in this thing, I guess. Yeah, there you go. Well, I only got one channel, but what if this? Wow, the auto stop even works on it. Listen to the noise that idler's making. That is amazing. Goes to show you can hardly kill these things. Yeah, amazing. Covered in dirt, been in a damp storeroom. Probably hasn't been used for 30 years or more. Who knows whether they use it there at all, but the fact they've got leads made up for it would suggest they may have used it occasionally. They've got some nice metal RCA. Do they unscrew? They do. Metal RCA plugs. Not the cheapo plastic ones from Dick Smith. So these are probably made to go on those other speakers by the look of it. Looks like they've been bent around a screw terminal. So you could either have a radio, cassette or turntable from this, or we could use that amp with a microphone. So I reckon that's the two setups they've had. But I don't remember the last time anyone's bothered playing music there, so I don't think the hall will want it too much. But at least the thing's been tested and is known to be a bit of a piece of junk. I'm almost tempted to just try and get it going a little bit just for the hell of it. Try and see if we can get the tape deck and the turntable working a bit better. Just because it seems a shame just to chuck them out these days, but I don't reckon that many of these systems have probably survived, to be honest. Because they really, no one's wanted one of these in a long, long time. And I can't imagine many people want them now either, but they are a kind of disappearing style of system. But anyway, thanks for watching.